Have you ever wondered what happens when those who tried to manipulate you end up playing themselves? Today's message is clear. Regret hangs in the air like a heavy cloud, and those who thought they could deceive the chosen ones are now drowning in it. They believed they could manipulate the situation, twisting timelines, intentions, and even emotions for their gain. But God has been watching. What they once thought was a victory has become their undoing, and now they find themselves trapped in their own game. There are people in life who hold on not out of love or care, but out of sheer selfishness. These individuals see relationships and connections as tools for their own benefit rather than mutual exchanges of energy. They are the ones who never truly let you go, even when it seems like they have. They keep you tethered to them with invisible strings, manipulating your time and emotions, feeding their egos with your loyalty. They want to be your puppet master, pulling the strings when it suits them. You've likely felt it, the way they seem to always show up when you're about to make a breakthrough, as if sensing your progress and sabotaging it to keep you within their grasp. The manipulators, those selfish ones, never truly intended to let you go. They viewed you as a backup, someone they could return to when their other options failed, or when they needed a boost to their self-esteem. You were their safety net, the one they could turn to for validation whenever the world didn't give them what they wanted. This was never about love or care. It was about control. They believed they had you on standby, always available, always waiting. They saw you as something to be kept in reserve, a fallback plan they could rely on whenever it was convenient. Their manipulations were subtle but effective. They would tell you exactly what you wanted to hear when you started drifting away, offering just enough to keep you around, but never enough for you to thrive. They played on your emotions, your hopes, and even your fears, stringing you along while you gave them your best self, and they gave you only breadcrumbs in return. You may have found yourself stuck in a cycle, always feeling close to breaking free, but never quite managing it because they always found a way to pull you back in. Their goal was never your freedom. It was to keep you dependent on them, locked into a loop of their own design. But here's the thing. God saw through it all. God was aware of every tactic they used, every time they held you back for their benefit, and while they thought they were getting away with it, God was already setting events in motion that would lead to their undoing. Their grip on you was not as secure as they thought, and their belief that they could control you forever was an illusion. They were so caught up in their selfish need to dominate your energy that they never saw the bigger picture, God's plan to free you and expose their true nature. And that moment of reckoning was fast approaching. God's intervention was not loud or dramatic. It was subtle, as most of God's work often is. While they continued their manipulations, God was quietly laying the groundwork for their downfall. It's important to understand that God never acts out of spite or revenge. It operates from a place of balance and justice. When someone tries to alter another's path for their own selfish reasons, God steps in to correct the imbalance. The manipulators had unknowingly triggered a series of events that would lead them straight into the trap God had set for them. One of the key ways God intervened was by placing a distraction in their path. It was something that appealed directly to their ego, something shiny and attractive enough to draw their focus away from you. This distraction was designed to make them believe they had won, that they had moved on to something better. It was exactly what they had been seeking, something that validated their actions and fed their sense of superiority. Little did they know, this was God's way of freeing you from their grasp. With their attention diverted, their hold on you began to weaken. But this wasn't just about breaking their control over you. It was about exposing them for who they truly were. God's trap was designed to reveal their true nature, not just to you, but to everyone around them. They thought they were clever, that they were getting away with their deceit, but in reality, they were walking straight into their own downfall. God allowed them to believe they were in control, right up until the moment they weren't. And by the time they realized what had happened, it was too late. The game they had been playing for so long had turned against them. Now, They are left to deal with the consequences of their actions. What they once saw as a victory has become their greatest regret. The very tactics they used to keep you trapped have now ensnared them, and there is no escape. God, in its infinite wisdom, has orchestrated their downfall in a way that leaves no room for denial. They are now prisoners of their own making, and the weight of their regret is something they will carry for a long time. Meanwhile, you are free, freer than you have ever been. For so long, the energy between you and these people was like a cord, tying you together in ways that you may not have even fully understood. But now, that cord has been severed. It's more than just a feeling. It's an undeniable truth that the bond they used to feed off your energy has been broken. This is the shift that has happened, and it's one that is both powerful and irreversible. They can no longer tap into your light, your essence. You've pulled your energy back, consciously or unconsciously, and the results are undeniable. Their influence over you has dissolved, leaving them with nothing but the hollow echo of what once was. This energetic disconnection is not just a symbolic act, it's a transformative one. It signifies the breaking of an energetic bond that has existed for far too long. You may not have realized it, but every time you engaged with these manipulators, whether through conversations, emotional exchanges, or even your thoughts, you were feeding their egos. Your energy sustained them, gave them power, and kept them in control. But now, that source of energy has been cut off. They are left without the fuel they once relied on, and this shift is causing their world to crumble. The power dynamic has shifted entirely. Where once they held sway over your emotions and decisions, now they are powerless. They can feel the change, even if they don't fully understand it. You no longer react to them in the way you once did. The things they used to say to keep you hooked no longer have any effect. The feelings of obligation, guilt, or even attraction that they once cultivated in you have evaporated. What's left is a sense of freedom that you may not have realized was possible before. The energetic cord has been severed, and with it, their control over you has disappeared. This moment of energetic unplugging is one of the most important shifts in your journey. It marks the beginning of a new chapter where you are no longer bound by the manipulations of others. You are reclaiming your power, your autonomy, and your right to live without being drained by those who seek to control you. As this energetic shift takes place, you will find yourself feeling lighter, freer, and more in tune with your true self. The weight of their influence is gone, and in its place is the clarity that comes from knowing you are no longer tied to them. This disconnection marks the beginning of a powerful karmic reckoning. You see, when you severed that energetic tie, it sent a signal to the universe. The universe responds to balance, to justice, and what's unfolding now is the ripple of that energetic release. Those who once felt pride in manipulating you, in holding you back, are now facing the full weight of their actions. Their past deeds have come back to haunt them, and karma, always patient, is making sure they experience every ounce of what they tried to inflict on you. The pride they once felt in their manipulations has been replaced with heavy regret, as they now see clearly the enormity of what they've lost. The power, the connection, and most importantly, you. Karma always operates on its own timeline, and in this case, it has been waiting for the right moment to strike. The moment you pulled back your energy and reclaimed your power, the wheels of karma began to turn. Those who once manipulated you are now standing at the precipice of their own undoing. Every selfish action, every deceitful word, every attempt to control you is coming back to them, amplified. They may not understand why their lives are falling apart, why everything they touch seems to turn to dust, but the truth is that this is the consequence of their actions. They are reaping what they have sown. Karma's timing is always perfect. It waited until you were truly free, until you had severed the energetic ties that kept you bound to these manipulators. Now that you are no longer part of their game, karma is free to act without interference, and its judgment is swift. The pride they once took in their ability to control you has been replaced with a deep sense of regret, as they realize that their actions have led to their downfall. They thought they were in control, but now they are the ones being controlled. by the consequences of their own behavior. This karmic reckoning is not just about punishing them for their actions, it's about restoring balance. The universe seeks equilibrium, and for too long, the scales were tipped in their favor. But now, the balance is being restored, and they are being forced to face the reality of their choices. They may try to fight it, to deny it, but there is no escaping karma's reach. The regret they feel is a reflection of the pain they caused, and it will linger with them as a constant reminder of what they lost. Meanwhile, you are free to move forward, unburdened by their energy and ready to embrace the blessings that await you. The brilliance of God's trap lies in its subtlety. The manipulators never saw it coming. God sent someone into their lives who seemed to be everything they ever wanted. Someone who glittered with potential. Someone who appeared to be an upgrade. Someone who seemed like a prize. This person was the perfect reflection of their desires, their ego, and their selfishness. They were so blinded by their need to win, to come out on top, that they didn't question what was in front of them. They believed they had found something better, something more valuable than you, and in their arrogance, they walked straight into the trap. This person, this karmic, was a mirror, an illusion crafted by God to reveal their true nature. What they didn't realize was that this upgrade was nothing more than a reflection of their own deceit. God knew exactly what they would fall for, and that's what was presented to them. It wasn't love, it wasn't connection, it was ego. The glittering facade was designed to appeal to their selfishness, their greed, and their desire for control. And they fell for it without hesitation, thinking they had won, thinking they had bested you. But what they didn't see was that God was playing the long game. This karmic relationship, or illusion, became their undoing. They invested everything into it, believing they had outsmarted you, believing they had moved on to something bigger and better. But it was a trap from the very beginning. God designed this relationship not as a reward, but as a mirror to show them the truth about themselves. Every moment they spent with this new person revealed more of their own darkness, more of the deceit they had been living with. They thought they had escaped, but in reality, they had walked right into God's lesson. But here's the thing, you're not just meant to watch their lessons unfold, you're meant to rise even higher. That's where the obsidian inner order comes in. This isn't just a space for spiritual warriors, it's a space for those who have witnessed the karmic cycles of others and know they're destined for more. Inside the inner order, we teach you how to channel that wisdom, to use the lessons you've seen others struggle through as fuel for your own rise. While they remain stuck, you're accelerating toward your purpose. If you've ever felt like their downfall was just a part of your ascension, it's time to claim that power. This is about more than just watching them fall. It's about mastering the art of rising above it all. The link is in the description. And then, the mask began to slip. The person they thought was an upgrade, the one they believed was a better version of you, turned out to be nothing but a reflection of their own darkness. This karmic individual mirrored back all of the selfishness, all of the manipulation, and all of the deceit they had used against you. God allowed them to walk right into a relationship with themselves. Only now, they were the ones being played. The irony is thick, and the realization, when it finally hit them, must have been devastating. They weren't in control, they never were. They were just pawns in God's plan all along. This is where the unveiling truly happened. As the relationship with their karmic partner progressed, they began to see more clearly. What they once thought was a victory started to feel like a loss. The person they thought was their ultimate prize turned out to be a nightmare. All the qualities they had once admired became unbearable as they began to see the reflection of their own flaws staring back at them. Every manipulative tactic they had used on you was now being used against them, and there was no escape. God had trapped them in a mirror of their own making, and now they had no choice but to confront the truth. The mask fell off completely, and they were left with the cold, hard reality of who they truly were. This was no longer about you. It was about them and the choices they had made. God had shown them the consequences of their actions. and now they were stuck with the very traits they had tried to project onto you. Their new relationship wasn't a blessing, it was a curse. And as they sit in the aftermath of God's trap, they are forced to reckon with the fact that they were never as clever or as in control as they thought. The regret they feel now is deep and all-encompassing. They thought they had won the game, but in reality, they were the ones being played all along. God had orchestrated their downfall with precision, using their own arrogance and selfishness against them. Now they are trapped in a relationship that reflects everything they tried to avoid, and they have no one to blame but themselves. God's lesson has been learned, and the manipulators are left to sit in the ruins of their own making, with nothing but regret to keep them company. You, the chosen ones, are free. While they were busy playing their games, God was guiding you toward a greater purpose, a higher calling. They believed they were casting you aside, discarding you like an old plaything. But what they didn't realize was that God was orchestrating your liberation. Their rejection was your redirection. The moment they loosened their grip, you stepped into your power. You are no longer bound by their manipulations, their deceit, or their control. You are free to walk your own path, to embrace your destiny without the weight of their energy holding you back. As you walk into your freedom, you may start to notice the stark contrast between your life and theirs. While they are stuck in their karmic loop, dealing with the consequences of their actions, you are thriving. God has opened new doors for you, doors that were once blocked by their manipulations. Opportunities, connections, and blessings are now flowing into your life with ease. The weight that once held you down is gone, and you can finally move forward without the burden of their energy pulling you back. You are free, and your life is proof of that. Their regret is immense, but it is not your burden to bear. As you step into this new season of blessings and abundance, their loss becomes clearer with each passing day. They thought they were winning when they let you go, but what they didn't realize was that God was preparing you for something far greater than they could ever offer. Now, as you rise, they are left to watch from the sidelines, consumed by the regret of what they've lost. They thought they had the upper hand, but in reality, they were setting you free. And now, you are untouchable. God has lifted you above their games, above their attempts to control you. You are walking in your purpose, aligned with your destiny, and nothing they do can stop you. Their regret, their attempts to re-enter your life are futile. You have moved beyond them, and they can no longer touch your energy. God has placed a shield around you, protecting you from their manipulations. And as long as you stay aligned with your purpose, they will remain powerless. You are free, and their regret is simply a reminder of what they lost. But God's message is clear. You must block their energy completely. This chapter is closed, and there is no going back. The contract is void, the karmic ties are severed, and any attempt to return will only be driven by ego, not growth. They will try to come back, not because they've changed, but because they can no longer feed off your energy. Do not be swayed by their attempts to re-enter your life. You have grown beyond them, and there is nothing left for you in the past. The door must remain closed, locked, and sealed. The urge to forgive, to offer them another chance may be strong, but God warns against it. This is not a situation where reconciliation is possible. They have not changed, and their regret is not the same as remorse. They regret losing the control they had over you, not the pain they caused. Their attempts to return will be fueled by the same selfishness that drove them in the first place. God's message is clear. Block their energy completely. You are free now, and allowing them back into your life would only undo the progress you've made. This is a time for you to focus on your growth, your purpose, and your future. The manipulations of the past are behind you, and God has paved the way for you to walk into a season of abundance and fulfillment. But in order to fully embrace this new chapter, you must close the door on the old one. Blocking their energy means not just physically distancing yourself, but energetically cutting them off. Do not allow their presence in your thoughts, your emotions, or your God. God is guiding you forward, and the only way to move forward is to leave them behind. As you move into this new season, you will find that blocking their energy was the final step in your liberation. Without their influence, you are free to fully step into your power. God is with you, guiding you and protecting you from any attempts to drag you back into the past. This is your time, chosen one. Walk forward confidently, knowing that you are no longer bound by their manipulations. Their regret is theirs to carry, but you are free, and the future is filled with the blessings God has prepared for you. As October ends, so too does the chapter of manipulation and deceit. November is on the horizon, bringing with it a fresh wave of energy, a clean slate for the chosen ones. The time of playing games is over, and now those who once tried to manipulate you are facing the consequences of their actions. They are reaping what they have sown, and as they crumble under the weight of their own regret, you are stepping into your true power, free from their hold and ready to thrive. November is going to be a transformative month for you, chosen ones. The energy is shifting in your favor, and new opportunities, blessings, and connections await you. God has cleared the path, and now it's time for you to rise. The tables have turned, and those who played games with you are now facing their downfall. As they regret their choices, you are stepping into a future filled with abundance. The time is now. Embrace your power and step boldly into the new chapter God has prepared for you.